In the practical meditation course so far, we've been learning about the soul. But sometimes in English, it's a very nebulous term, the soul. So now we're going to go a bit deeper into what really constitutes the soul, the faculties of the soul. When I began to meditate, I remember in my early days, there was this strong thought. I realized I was like a slave inside my own mind. What I mean by that is that I would just observe my mind reacting to people and situations. Sometimes a few words, a facial expression, and my mind would go into overdrive. And I remember thinking it was like my mind said, oh mind, take me over. I bow down to you. It was like there was another power inside of me. Meditation encourages me to really look at the relationship with my mind. And today one of the things we hear all the time, in fact, a sense of my identity, if you say to people, how are you? What do they say? I'm busy. It's almost like that's who I am. Yes, there is a lot to do. But if we go a little bit deeper, where does this busyness comes from? In a way, it's like a form of denial or avoidance to really look deep and see who I am. Because often if I sit quietly, the mind can turn on itself. And so many negative thoughts and memories start to bubble up. So let me just keep running. Let me just keep busy. Because it keeps all that negative stuff at bay. So far we've been looking at the question of who I am. And the answer that we're offering is that I am a soul. But probably we can say that the soul is like an overname for three aspects of consciousness. The first is the mind. The mind is a wonder. There's research on the internet, if you Google. A researcher once said that the mind creates around 70,000 thoughts in a waking day of 16 hours. Now, that research has been challenged a lot, but what it's really saying is that there's so much activity in my mind. Another researcher says that you can speak about 125 words a minute, but you can think up to 500 words in a minute. In psychology, the mind can be aware on 7 different levels at any given moment. What an extraordinary instrument the mind is. And so we are beginning to learn about my mind, educate myself about my mind. Sometimes I think it's like we all have a thought factory up here. A thought factory that produces thousands of thoughts, and it never stops even when we sleep. Just imagine if your thoughts had colors. Each time you thought, let's say you have loving thoughts, benevolent thoughts, kind thoughts, gentle, beautiful pastel colors just swirl out of your mind into the atmosphere. Imagine if everyone could see your thoughts. Or if you have a negative thought and a big black blob goes blop out of your mind, imagine how much attention you would have to your thoughts if people could see your thoughts. In fact, people can't see them, but they do feel your thoughts. Your mind has an energy. And this is where, when I begin to realize, when I create quality thoughts in my mind, I create a quality experience in my life. And the image for my mind I have these days is my mind is a sacred space. And I sometimes think of my mind as this crystal clear bowl of pure, still, clean water. Just imagine, so still, so silent. But there's gateways into my mind. There's my ears. I hear a few words, a comment. And my mind just is driven by that comment. My mind just goes from first gear up into top gear. I see something, I see a bad behavior, I let it in through my eyes and it drives my thinking. As I go about my day, the nature of consciousness is that a memory bubbles up from deep within and enters my mind, and in an instant my mood changes. And so my mind is being driven by the external world. Why is meditation so important for the mind? Because what I am doing is I'm sitting down and I'm starting to take back control, if I can say, take back the authority of my mind, because I'm starting to create the thoughts I want. I start to think, I am a peaceful soul. This is the original me. This is who I am. And as I start to create the thoughts I want, I am less and less influenced by the information from the senses that is coming and influencing what is happening inside my mind. I would say that in this state, meditation is not something which you do just morning or night. It's really an attitude, a way of life. That as I go about my day, I govern the quality of thoughts I want in my mind. And if my mind is influenced, and it will be, through the gateways of my eyes, my ears, or my memory, I gently restore my peace of mind. The more I practice, the more I can really know internal peace.